Hi and welcome. Let's review episode 5 of The Rings of Power. Well, this episode, I can tell you flat out, is pure filler. Nothing advances the plot in this episode. It starts out with the Hobbit people, Half-Foots, still on the trail. Nothing happens. They are on the trail throughout this. We also have the folks that are at the Elven Tower. They're still at the Elven Tower. We have the folks over in Numenor. Well, guess what? They're still in Numenor. We still have the mystery as to who the guy who fell from the sky is. Nothing has advanced in that plot. And we still don't know who the Adar guy is, the weird-looking elven orc guy. And we still don't know who Halbrand is. So nothing happens in this episode. But we'll talk about it anyway. But really nothing happens. There's like very minor things that happen. Okay, so we'll start with the Hobbit people. They're on the trail. And the guy who fell from the sky is healing himself by making his arm freeze. Because his arm got burned from fighting wolves. Okay. And he's healing himself, and that's what happens. These people show up who we have no idea who they are. They are very strange looking people. No explanation. Very short scene of them. And they're staring at the hole that the guy who fell from the sky made. The crater. I have no idea who they are. Have no idea what the point of them is. Nothing is explained. And of course, we still are trying to figure out who he is exactly. I have no idea who he is anymore. I actually don't care who he is. It's really kind of stupid. If he's a wizard, where's his staff? Where's his crystal? All wizards have a staff, and in the Lord of the Rings, they all have a crystal in their staff. Because they are the sacred wielders of the fire of the Anor. Also, why can't he speak, this guy? This is what really makes no sense. If he's a wizard, he is from Valinor, and he was sent to Middle-earth by the Valar, just as the elves are from Valinor, and they were sent to Middle-earth by the Valar. Wizards and elves come from the same place. They speak the same languages. They're supposed to be able to speak to the men or the human beings because they're sent to Middle-earth as the defenders of the human beings from evil. That's their whole purpose. So none of this makes any sense at all in this show. Why there is a mystery around this person, I have no idea. It is so far the plot, or whoever the writers are, a complete illogic takes place in this show. None of it jives with anything that Professor Tolkien has written. Nothing. Maybe they're using names from the book, but nothing else makes any sense. Total stupidity. The writers should be fired from this show because it is absolutely abysmal, the writing. The acting is pretty horrible too, by the way, where we have the Half-Foots who have like these really horrible Irish accents. I really don't know why they have Irish accents in the first place. Makes no sense to me. Just really makes no sense. Why would they have Irish accents? It's just all very strange. And like I said, I really don't care who this guy is at this point. So then we have this guy, Adar, who is talking to his orc. And for some reason, he takes the orc's arm and tells him to roll up his sleeve in the sunlight. And he watches his arm burn. what the purpose of this is, I have no idea. How this advances the plot, I have no idea. How them wearing a cloak stops them from being burned by the sun, I still can't figure out, because the whole point is it's not really the sun that's burning them, it's the light of truth and good that burns them, so no cloak could save them. So all of this makes no sense at all, okay, because they cannot be out in the daytime. The thought here is that he's allegedly thinking that orcs should be able to be out in the sunlight or something like that. None of this makes any sense because this guy Adad did not make the orcs. Morgoth made the orcs, and he's not him. So none of this makes sense. Illogical again. Then we have Browin back at the Elf Tower trying to declare herself a king. Have no idea where this idea came from. This woman who lives in a barn all of a sudden thinks she's the king of the village. Very bizarre that she would even stand up and say this kind of stuff. Seems to think that she's the leader of the village, of all these people, blah, blah, blah. Plot makes no sense. People basically don't follow her. For the most part, they go follow the guy that was the bartender and that we know is a servant of Sauron instead. And he says to them, well, why don't we just go join them? Who cares anyway? We're just villagers. We don't care if they come and take this land. They already destroyed everything that we have. I mean, it's kind of stupid. So some people stay with Browin, which makes no sense, by the way. And then other people go with that other guy. Okay, and he swears his fealty to Adar. Okay, but these people are staying in the tower with Browin and, of course, the elf, Aradin, dear. And so what really makes no sense to me is why would they stay in this tower? What is the point of staying in the tower and being slaughtered? They have no food. They have no weapons. So this is illogical. They cannot fight an army because, well, last time I checked, none of them are warriors. They're farmers and villagers, just ordinary villagers, ordinary people. And they are not military at all. The elf is sworn to protect them. So why hasn't he sent a messenger to the other elves to come and protect these people? This is what really makes no sense to me. I would think that he would immediately go seek out the rest of his forces, wherever they are. I know his squad got killed, but there are other elves out there that are in Middle Earth protecting the people. So why wouldn't he go get them and bring them, tell them that this is what's going on here? There's an orc army attacking people, and wouldn't that bring the elf army there? So, I mean, it's total illogic. And why wouldn't these people just leave? I mean, why do they have to have a choice with whether to join the orcs or to stay in the tower? I mean, wouldn't the logical thing be, gee, let's flee. Let's get out of here. Let's go somewhere else immediately. I mean, that's what would make sense. It's logical. But once again, the people that wrote this show clearly don't know what happens in reality. How people think or how things work. Just really stupid. Stupid writing, really bad writing, bad acting. I mean, some of the actors must be saying to themselves, why am I even saying this line? It makes no sense. Oh, and of course we have the I don't know, Sauron's sword or whatever this is supposed to be. Whether it's Sauron's sword, which it can't be Sauron's sword because Sauron carries a mace. Which I already said in my other videos. So what is it? I don't know. It's some evil black Morgoth sword, right? Or something like that. And so he tells everybody that, oh, there's a sword in the village. Just be over here in this tree, and this hilt goes to it. Well, they knew this all along, and he never spoke up. None of this makes any sense. It's just so stupid. What an idiotic plot. It's really sad. So then we're back to Numenor again, where we have Galadriel still being insufferable, annoying, aggravating, and basically everybody hates her. Whether they're actors in the show or they're the people watching the show, all that she brings about is hatred for Galadriel. She is trying to convince Halbrand to lead the Numenorean army back to Middle-earth. And Halbrand is like, I don't want to go to Middle-earth. I want to stay here. I want to forge swords. Because that's what he's doing in this episode, is forging swords. Okay. And, all of this is just stupid. That's all I can say about it. It's just stupid. She is trying to drag him to Middle-earth, which, of course, is ultimately what he probably wants, because I don't think he's the king, which he even said he's not the king. So it really makes no sense. When he talks about his backstory, he said he got the seal off of a dead guy. He also explains that his whole line of people swore fealty to Morgoth. And so the question is, who is he? Is he... I've heard people say that he's Sauron, he's not Sauron, maybe he's the Witch King, blah, blah, blah. Once again, I could care less who he is. That's how bad the show is. It's just utterly ridiculous. And then we have Elendil and his son, Isildur, and Elendil's telling his son, oh, well, you haven't done anything to prove that you should be on this voyage to Middle-earth. You left the Sea God, and you're not in the military, you're not a merchant, you're not in the guild, so you can't forge anything. And there are real people out there that have volunteered to join this expedition and go to Middle-earth. Well, somewhere throughout this show, Isildur ends up with the Horsemen, which makes no sense, but okay, he ends up with the Horsemen on the ship heading to Middle-earth. Whatever. Once again, nothing makes any sense in this show. And then we have this other part, which really is stupid. We have Elendil. Now, Elendil is like this great warrior of Numenor. He's like, over 7 feet tall or something like that. And he asks Galadriel to show the men how to fight with a sword, which really doesn't make any sense. These are Elendil's men. Now, he's this great warrior. Why wouldn't he show them how to use a sword? And of course, the other part that makes no sense in any of this show is the men of Numenor are supposed to be, like, for a lack of a better word, superpowered as compared to normal humans. They live extremely long lives. They are very tall and muscular. They're incredibly smart. So they're supposed to be like, think of them like Captain America super soldiers, and that's what they are. What would they need her to show them anything? They can fight just as well as any elf, which is why the elves and the men of Numenor stood together to fight evils, because they're pretty much equal. The only difference between the men of Numenor and the elves is that the elves are immortal. That's the only difference. And so none of this makes any sense. So they go through this whole idiotic thing where she is fighting with them, sparring with them with swords, and says these imbecilic words out of her mouth that make no sense to anyone that knows anything about fighting or anything about swordsmanship. Just ridiculous. Really stupid. They must think the audience is like brain dead or something. I don't know. But it has to be some of the worst fighting scenes I've ever seen in any movie or show, and the dumbest lines coming out of her mouth that don't make any sense to anyone. I mean, wow. I mean, this should have been just like cut out of the show because it's just stupid. And once again, it does not advance the plot. Serves no purpose in the show at all, except for to make Galadriel be even more annoying than she normally has been. And then we have this whole thing about Mithril. All of a sudden, Mithril is raised to this super importance by the elves, which in the books, it has no importance. It's just an ore. But in this show, the writers decided to make it change all of Tolkien lore and make it into something that it isn't. A story that the High King Elf explains to Elrond about how the Tree of Life, there was this battle that took place between a Balrog and, I mean, it's just idiotic, this whole stupidity. And somehow the Silmarill's powers were hit the tree in a lightning bolt, which I didn't know Silmaril power came out as a lightning bolt, but it struck the tree. And then in this tree, the lightning went down into the ground, and the power of the Silmarils is in the Mithril. Wow, that is a leap in logic and just really stupid, imbecilic. It has nothing to do with Tolkien at all. This is just some really bad writing that the idiots that wrote this show came up with. It makes no sense at all. It's like this stupid, another idiotic mystery to nowhere. Really stupid, just like the mystery as to who the guy is who fell from Earth, who Adar is. These are mysteries that go nowhere. Just nonsense that supposedly help keep you interested in the show, but frankly, all they are is turnoffs to the show. The show ends with them finally sailing to Middle-earth. Now, there's a couple of other things that happen that really aren't important in this show that I'm not even going to talk about because the show is just so boring, excruciating to watch, horribly written, horrible acting. The only thing good about the show is the special effects. That's about it that I can see. Like I said, they have the mystery as to who Halbrand is, which I actually could care less who he is at this point, once again. The mysteries they put forth in the show are boring. Okay, is he Sauron? Is he not Sauron? Is he the Witch King? Is he, I don't know. Is he really the king? I don't know. I don't care. Even he's reluctant and doesn't care. That's the funny part of it. I agree with him. I don't care. And you shouldn't care, because this show is not worth your time to watch. I sat through this episode, so you didn't have to sit through it. And I'll give this, out of my 5-scale rating, this show basically got a 1.5. If you enjoy these videos, please subscribe. Tell your friends about it and have them subscribe. Hit the like button. Maybe next time. Bye-bye.